Raider Nation, I need you to lock in right now because the Raiders just met with a coach that could completely reshape the future of this franchise. What's up, everyone? This is Victor, and you're watching Raiders Nation Update, your home for Raiders news, rumors, and real fan opinions, no filters, no fluff. Before we get started, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and help us reach our goal of 2,000 subscribers. Every click matters, Raider Nation, and it helps this channel grow. Alright, let's talk about a name that just shook things up. Mike McDaniel met with the Raiders, and that matters. According to NFL Network, former Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel met with the Las Vegas Raiders on Monday in Miami. And this is not just another random interview. McDaniel has quickly become one of the most popular coaching candidates on the market. Since being fired by Miami on January 8th, he's already interviewed with Atlanta, Cleveland, Baltimore, Tennessee, and he even had a meeting scheduled with Detroit to discuss their offensive coordinator role. That tells you something right there. The league still believes in Mike McDaniel. Why the Raiders are at a crossroads? Let's set the stage. The Raiders just came off a 3-14 season, which led to parting ways with Pete Carroll after just 1 year. That season wasn't just bad, it was non-competitive, inconsistent, and painful to watch. But here's the flip side. Because of that record, the Raiders now hold the No. 1 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. And most signs point to that pick being used on Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback out of Indiana, the Heisman Trophy winner, and the most talked about QB prospect in this class. So whoever becomes the next head coach in Las Vegas will likely be tied to a rookie quarterback. Be responsible for developing the face of the franchise, and be expected to change the culture immediately. That's not a small job. Mike McDaniel's resumed the good and the bad. Mike McDaniel is 42 years old, young by NFL head coaching standards, and offensively wired. His head coaching record in Miami, 35 wins. 33 losses over 4 seasons, 7-10 record this past year, led the Dolphins to the playoffs in 2022 and 2023. That's important. Miami hadn't been a consistent playoff team in years before he arrived. Before becoming a head coach, McDaniel built his reputation in San Francisco, where he coached from 2017 to 2021, finishing as the 49ers offensive coordinator in his final season. He was also part of Cleveland Browns WR coach, 2014 Atlanta Falcons offensive assistant, 2015 to 2016. In other words, this guy has been around elite offensive minds and modern systems. Why McDaniel makes sense for the Raiders? Let's be honest, Raider Nation. The Raiders' offense has been predictable, slow. Outdated. Mike McDaniel brings motion-heavy schemes, creative play design, a system that helps quarterbacks succeed early if you're drafting Fernando Mendoza. A smart offensive coach matters more than anything else. McDaniel helped design offenses that maximized speed, created mismatches, took pressure off the quarterback. That's exactly what a rookie QB needs. But here's the concern, and we have to be real. I'm not here to hype blindly. McDaniel's Dolphins teams were exciting, but also inconsistent. They struggled late in seasons. They struggled with physical teams. And this year, they went 7-10, which ultimately cost him his job. So the big question is, can Mike McDaniel be more than just an offensive mind? Because in Vegas, he won't just be calling plays, he'll be setting the tone, hiring coordinators, leading a rebuild. That's the challenge. My honest Raider fan, take Raider Nation, I don't hate this interview at all. Mike McDaniel is smart, respected, offensively creative, still young enough to grow. If the Raiders believe he can build a strong staff around him and grow with a rookie quarterback, this could be a long-term move, not a quick fix. But this hire has to be paired with patience, smart roster building, and protection for the QB. Otherwise, we've seen how this story ends. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you want Mike McDaniel as the next head coach of the Raiders? Do you trust him to develop Fernando Mendoza and lead this rebuild? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And don't forget, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and help us get closer to our goal of 2,000 subscribers. If you bleed silver and black like I do, this channel is for you. Alright, let's talk about something huge. Raiders receive a strong message amid the head coach search. Raider Nation, the 2025 season was painful. No sugarcoating it. A 3-14 record. Pete Carroll gone, and once again, we're standing at a crossroads as a franchise. But here's the thing. For the first time in a long time, this crossroads actually feels like an opportunity. The Raiders hold the No. 1 overall pick in the 26th NFL draft. That likely means we're drafting a franchise quarterback with Fernando Mendoza emerging as the early favorite. And that makes this head coach hire the most important decision this organization has made in years. Now, former Raiders CEO Amy Trask stepped in and dropped a message that caught my attention, and it should catch yours too. Amy Trask, the Raiders need a leader. Amy Trask didn't talk about schemes first. She didn't talk about play design. She talked about leadership. Her message was clear. The Raiders don't just need a coach. They need a leader who can unify the building. And the name she brought up, Mike Tomlin. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Mike Tomlin. This man coached the Pittsburgh Steelers for nearly 2 decades and never had a losing season. Not one. That's 17 straight years at .500 or better in one of the toughest divisions in football. That kind of consistency, that kind of locker room control, that kind of respect. Raider Nation, we haven't had that in a long time. Trask made a great point. You can hire elite coordinators. You can surround your head coach with football geniuses. But the head coach's main job is to lead men, set culture, and create accountability. And if you're talking about culture, Mike Tomlin screams Raider energy. She even floated a dream scenario. Brian Flores as defensive coordinator, Brian Dable as offensive coordinator. That's experience. That's toughness. That's football IQ all over the building. Now, is it realistic? Maybe, maybe not. But the idea matters. It tells us what kind of coach the Raiders should be targeting. The other side, a young offensive mind. Now, not everyone agrees with going the veteran leader route. NFL writer Tyler Sullivan brought up another approach. Go young, go offensive-minded, go quarterback developer. And honestly, I get it. If the Raiders draft Fernando Mendoza with the No. 1 pick, you need someone who can grow with him. Someone who understands modern offenses, spacing, timing, and quarterback-friendly systems. That's where a name like Clint Kubiak comes in. Kubiak represents the blank slate idea. No baggage, no old-school rigidity. Just an offense built around your young QB from day one. The Raiders have burned money cycling through coaches. Sullivan made a great point. Ownership may want stability, not another expensive retread. So the question becomes, do you want a culture builder or a QB architect? This roster isn't hopeless, and that matters. Let's be clear, Raider Nation. This is not a dead roster. Yes, we won 3 games. Yes, it was ugly, but there are real building blocks here. Brock Bowers at tight end, a matchup nightmare. Ashton Jeanty, explosive, young, and dynamic. Tons of cap space. And potentially Fernando Mendoza, a Heisman-level QB prospect. That's a nucleus. That's something a real coach can work with. This job is more attractive than people want to admit. My take as a Raider fan, here's my honest opinion, straight from the heart. If Mike Tomlin is truly available and interested, you make that call immediately. You don't overthink it. You don't get cute. You bring in a proven leader, then surround him with elite offensive and defensive minds to develop your quarterback. But if Tomlin isn't realistic, then the Raiders must prioritize someone who can maximize Mendoza's development. No more experiments, no more half measures. This hire will define the next decade of Raiders football. Get it right. And the silver and black are back. Get it wrong. And we're doing this again in 3 years. Now, I want to hear from you. Raider Nation, let me know in the comments. Do you want Mike Tomlin as head coach? Or do you prefer a young offensive mind like Clint Kubiak? And how important is leadership versus scheme in your eyes? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to Raiders Nation Update, and help us reach our goal of 2,000 subscribers. Every sub matters, and I truly appreciate every single one of you. This is Victor. This is Raider Nation. And as always, just win, baby.